Awesome. You know what? We have not paid for any POs.
I know. I'm like, I want to show them how you can tie an expense to a PO.
If you wanted to, and you wanted multiple POs, why don't you actually, why don't we just click on this one, the 5,000 for the tennis today. Okay? Go to that actual PO, hit edit, and we're going to duplicate it. Okay? So there's a link at the top that says duplicate. Oh, sorry.
Oh,
go back one. There's a link at the top that says duplicate.
Exactly. We're just
click that. Yeah, we're going to fake it for just a minute, okay? And duplicate.
Should I do like a few or?
Sure. It says duplicate the original again.
Oh,
link.
So we're on the payables homepage?
So what we're doing is we're pretending that we've getting a whole bunch of stuff that we're going to pay
Can
off.
you just duplicate them?
We're
going to
playing right now. We're going to show you something, okay?
I'm going to do one more. Yeah, go to the payables homepage. I'm going there right now. Okay, so I just duplicated some. So we're going to our payables homepage because I need to pay off some POs. Maybe some people gave me stuff on credit, consignment, or maybe I just didn't catch up on my bookkeeping. Maybe I already cut checks, paid people, I've already paid for this product, whatever. So now I'm coming in and I'm looking for I owe tennis today. So as you can see, it's under the PO column. It's not under reimbursements and it's not under normal payments, expenses. So right here I'm going to click on the amount that I owe them. And I have all these outstanding ones. But I know that I paid, sometimes it'll be a partial payment too if you do have things on consignment. Some people do. Maybe you paid like $12,000, So that'll be where you click to pay off to, and then you take the amount out of one to leave it in your payables like we did before. Maybe we're just paying all of these off. Maybe I know for a fact that I paid PO 15 and I paid PO 18. See how it's not letting me click on them, even though it has a white box? It's because when you take a PO and you create it, you have to actually verify that you have the product on your shelf or in your store. You have maybe an employee and you give them, say, okay, here's all these cartons of cigarettes, and you could go ahead and put them in the system or whatever. We'll start selling them on Friday, maybe. So they're going to put in the PO, but it's not in inventory yet.
What if we don't have physical items on our shelves?
You probably aren't going to be doing
Then
POs a whole lot.
Well,
You could just be making them before you sell them, or making them.
PO to maybe she would be doing kind of PO one of her employees, right? For the time.
That'd be an expense receipt.
Yeah, I would go right to expense. Don't even POs.
PO. Go ahead.
I think you're on it.
PO is only how I explain it. A purchase order is something that you're going to buy from whoever, so that you can sell it in your store. Whether it be in, I don't know, I work in one industry most of the time, but whether it be, piece of edible, a snack, and you're going to buy it and you're going to sell it on your counter in your store. That's a purchase order because you're purchasing it with the intention of selling it.
Yeah.
You're paying somebody for a bill, you're paying somebody for their time, you're paying somebody to come fix your light, mow your grass. That's an expense. There's no inventory associated with it.
When I was trying to do some kind of some POs, that was kind of how my wife was trying to show me.
That's because her industry is retail and your industry is service. So she was trying to say, cool, all you do is you just they're slightly different animals, but you just play different ways.
And that's probably why
And she may be dealing with them POs, putting them in, and then she knows they get
buys
paid.
from her pro and then
Right,
POs
exactly.
her
That's
stuff.
all having to do with what you're going to sell to somebody eventually.
Yeah.
So you'd be working with
That's why I was
expenses.
kind of confused. And it's like, well,
So what we have to
You
do
may
is
not do any POs other than creating your initial items. Like if you have custom items, you might do one PO at the very, very beginning for a $0 amount and create some special services.
smart button.
Yeah. Just all you're doing is just setting up some pieces so you can put them on your invoices.
Yeah.
Not necessarily that it's a physical thing that you're tracking.
So then what you want to do is verify, because if you don't verify, and this is something that you'll get on your people about, or even yourself, because you'll make all these things and you'll forget to verify. And if you don't verify a PO, then you're not saying, yes, I actually have it in my possession. You just have it in your system. So you won't be able to sell it, and you won't be able to do any bookkeeping with it.
Where was that verified?
That was just right at the top of the actual PO. We pulled up PO number 15. Go back one more step. I went into my payables.
Okay.
I couldn't click my pay button, so I said, okay, let me edit.
Not yet verified.
Correct. If you click on the not yet link, it'll actually take you right to the verification. So what this is once again, let's talk a linear process here, okay? So you have Johnny, he brings in the inventory. Okay, Johnny may not be the one who's actually going to pay for that, okay? So verified and say, yeah, that's good, I'll pay for it. So what it is it virtually says, Johnny put it in, I can immediately start selling it, it immediately starts showing up for a payable. However, I have not paid it yet because I haven't said, yes, it's good. It's almost like another, it's just advancing the ball one more level.
Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and click the verify the PO for today, and I'm going to verify it. What I'm going to have to do then is I'm going to have to go back and
Can I
verify
show you
the
a
other.
cool way to do
yeah,
this? That's super
instead of
fast
two
and fun?
backs.
Yeah, watch this. Go ahead and just hit home. We're going to take you all the way back to the payables homepage.
Okay.
Go ahead and get me to the payables homepage.
Okay.
And go ahead and click on the tennis balls, 20,000. Okay, there's a little link. Look where it says not yet under the verified column. If you click that, it'll take you right to it. And then you hit verify. Scroll down, hit verify, and it's right
It'll take
back.
me back. Oh
Yep.
my gosh, that's the thing I learned today.
Oh,
I love it.
That was your aha moment, huh?
That's my Oh, I love it because I'll be hitting back, and you even know how many backs. You're just like, oh,
So
that's
this is, it's,
awesome.
we're trying to help you take it full circle.
Thank
But
you.
basically, bloop, 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 bloop. She's like, yep, yep, yep. Now look at her boxes on that
Now they're
column on
lit
that
up.
side.
All right. It's not aha yet for us.
Okay.
You guys did it too fast
Yeah.
and it disappeared on us.
Okay,
So your homepage,
Okay,
I'm going to backtrack, and I'm going to verify one of them. And look at, see, I didn't even go back to my aha moment. Hold on. It's not
so
aha
Roxanne,
anymore.
another thing that might help you instead of going back, 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 there's a little link that you can actually click on. And can I show you where it's at?
Yeah.
That makes it super handy.
Yes, because I
Right
have
here.
my backs memorized.
So say
Oh.
read them.
you can literally read where you wanted to go to. Okay, say I wanted to go to payables homepage. Okay, and
Again.
here's where we're at. So basically, you unverified
Yeah,
a
I
couple
like
of
that.
them. Okay,
Not yet.
this takes it.
Sections.
This takes you in a loop. Okay, but if you were on different places, you could figure out where you wanted to go by like, hey, there's PO line items. Here's the like. It kind of tells you where you've been. That's a handy way to go back. That way, you're jumping instead of going back, 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 back.
Yeah.
You're literally jumping a few places at one spot. Okay, she's gonna slow down. She's gonna show you.
So,
So we're at the payables homepage, right?
okay, that's where I'm going to go.
Okay, so she's
Payables
just jumped out. She's going to come back in fresh.
Okay. And we're working with tennis today. And we're working with POs because I know that I bought stuff and I owe some POs. So I'm going to click on the amount because that's the only thing you can click. They don't have like expense receipts. They don't have reimbursements. They just have POs.
Right.
So I'm going to click on that amount and it's going to bring up everything that's outstanding.
Right.
So now I'm trying to pay this one, but it's not letting me.
Verify it.
So that's because it's not verified.
Right.
Right here it'll say it's not verified. If you don't verify something, you won't be able to pay it as far as a PO. So now, he said I could go into my not yet, which if it's not verified, it should always say not yet, and I've always seen that too. And I'm going to click my verify. I'm going to verify, and the check mark means that you marked it as it's okay to pay. And it was today I verified it. And I'm going to hit verify. It's going to kick me back. Now that one's open. Now I'm going to go to this not yet. Go ahead and
Do the same thing.
click the not yet, click the PO to verify it, and verify it. Now I can pay all of them. If you ever can't pay a PO, it's because it's not verified. Or it could be a discrepancy in the amounts and stuff, but usually at this point in this screen, it's not verified. So I'm going to pay, how much am I going to pay?
Let's do 12.
12? Okay, so
1200.
I know I'm going to pay 5 and 5, that's 10. And I'm going to pay 2, so I'm going to leave 3, right? I'm only paying 12,000 today.
So hang on a second. Right here, you would actually just put 200.
Oops, 2.
200.
Oh,
2,000, sorry.
oh,
Okay.
okay. I did it backwards. Okay,
And
so I'm going to pay 12.
Yep, click that little box on the left-hand side of that.
So by changing it inside of here, that's my partial payment.
That's how much I'm physically going to throw at the deal.
That way, and that'll work when you go to do your payables after you put your receipts, because your credit card, when you balance, is never going to be equal. You're always in the middle of one payment, one charge, right? So that'll be where you end it off, and that'll be where you pick it up on the next one. So then you just hit pay, because right here I'm paying 5, 5, and 2. So now it says I'm paying 12,000 today. It connected it to all 3 of those, and I'm going to pay it with a check, out of my bank. I'm gonna pay that check number, and you know what? This is inventory.
Perfect.
POs are always inventory. And there's my new expense that I paid to tennis today for those POs.
Now check this out.
And I
There's a
put it in
little-
the middle.
Now, see where that says 15, 19, 18 down the middle of that PO column? You could actually literally go to those POs if you wanted to and be like, it now says, hey, I'm perfectly paid. Like it's kind
And
of
it'll say payment, yes, 1. So that's everything that I paid. I don't owe anything else. This is all legit. It's not off by amounts or anything like that. So now if I go back to my payables homepage, what's it going to show me for tennis today? It's going to show me that 1 because I didn't finish paying it, and then 1 that I didn't even touch. So now I could go in and do it again. If I only paid $1,000 the next time, go in here, select $1,000, create the new receipt. You always work out of your payables. Like, you're always cleaning your payables up forever. I'm trying to think. I don't know what else to look
Are we gonna
at.
talk about deposits?
Absolutely.
You probably
It's
have
our
invoices and
payables.
stuff. You have invoices, you do? Okay, so we have tons of invoices in here. Some of them have little flags, some of them don't. What we can do, we've only started doing this since the 16th. So what we could do is just go home and go to our deposit homepage, which is in our assets, because that's all the money coming in. And we're going to create a deposit.
Deposits homepage.
Yep. And we're just going to create a deposit. And we're going to make it from our bank. And we're going to say that,
Let's do it back to the 16th.
I was going to say, should we say
let's go 7/16.
7/16? And we're going to say it's for,
We're not sure yet. So put in 0.
we'll leave 0, yeah. And we're going to say sales, whatever you want to say. Are you there, Danny? Or is everybody kind of,
Getting there.
okay. Because I don't want to keep going if,
Sales.
Okay.
okay. So I'm going to hit add a deposit. This is going to be from Brandon's area. So it'll probably just be pulling up certain
So
ones, I
yours is
guess.
probably going to pull up a different one potentially for yours.
So right
We
here,
we have tons of locations, so we kind of complicate it a little bit by adding
yeah,
those.
just,
All you have to do is go up to the top, if you want, change that to all. The area location.
should I? Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, change that to all.
It'll show all of them then.
And then if you want, you can even say, hey, you know what, I only want stuff that happened on 7/16. So
Should
on
I
that
say that
payment
when
date
I
range,
read it?
just go
Okay.
7/16 and 7/16, and maybe I just want my cash payments or whatever. Like,
I know, I wish there was a cash drawer in here, but, okay, so we're gonna search. And we said only everything on 7/16. This is all the stuff that has not been deposited. 16,058 and 32 cents, all this. So, I'm gonna look for checks, because I thought we were working with a bank account. We do have some cash payments, but we don't have a cash drawer. But we could have deposited cash. Do you want to deposit cash?
let's do cash and check, everything.
Cash and check?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to click on all my checks, cash.
Could you potentially search for that and then you
Oh
don't
yeah,
have to
yeah,
check
yeah.
it
Watch
like
this.
that?
Scroll up to the top, Roxanne, just for fun. Flip that little money type to cash. No, the next one down, right there. Say cash.
Yep.
It's still on 7/16 search.
It won't pull the checks, but it'll pull
That's
all
okay.
the cash.
We'll do it again. Scroll up to the top. Don't even touch it. There's a little checkbox right there where it says select all. Right there, this guy.
Oh, yeah.
Boop. So
You
just
need to go back.
everything that's under 7/16. No, hang on. Scroll all the way down. We got to submit this.
We've got to add it before
Okay.
you go back and
Yep.
look
For the
checks.
location
Okay.
right now, let's just put it all under Brandon's.
Of course.
Okay, so we went up, we just selected cash for our time frame. We just selected them all, which you could unselect them or select them. And then we just said, okay, we're going to add the $8,078.15 to our deposit.
Okay.
That created a deposit.
Correct. So watch this. Let's click on that same link again where it says deposit invoice payments.
So now once you have a deposit created, say, you forgot to put your checks or something. Now you go to the bottom of the screen.
Or
where
at
it
the
says
top, either way.
or at the top,
There's one right there, deposit invoice
invoice
payments.
payments, and then there's also one down here, invoice payments. Depends on where you work, how you work. And then we're going to leave it as all, and we're going to say checks,
Okay,
right?
you probably need to change that location
To all?
Yeah, just because we have so many different locations, and ideally what
Yeah,
happens
I know.
is each location is doing their own little independent deposits,
So I might not have
even if it's
checks.
hitting the same bank, but like, we were just playing and playing. Perfect.
So those are all the checks for everyone from that same day though. And this is gonna go,
Mine.
yours. You want it? So now we got that one too. Now I added those in. See, you got all of your checks and all of your cash.
What are the little boxes over there waiting for?
Don't worry, that's just a lock.
Yeah,
Basically,
and
once again,
you know-
it's on the assembly line. You're saying anybody who had the ability to create that, if I lock those, you're no longer going to be able to play.
Sometimes you may be making your deposits and you say all, you add them all in there and you don't realize and you have a credit card in there. Well, the credit card, obviously, you didn't deposit a credit card in your bank account. So you're like, oh man, all you do is come over here, hit remove. Are you sure? Yep. Took it out. Go back to your line items and then it'll be gone. Sometimes when you're reconciling your bank account, you'll be off and you don't know why, and you start looking in your deposits and you're like, oh, well, that wasn't supposed to go there. That's an Amex charge, you know,
So once
because
you
you're
have that,
just,
that's it. So it's entered as a deposit.
it's entered as a deposit. So what you want to do now, because we didn't know in the beginning, normally if you're doing books or depositing on a daily, you know what your amount is, but
Or
we
if you're
didn't.
looking off of a bank statement,
Yeah.
it will physically say, I put $510
Right.
in.
And then
So
you
you're trying to
see.
get back to that magic number.
So now we're going to edit main because I didn't know at the time. And what I love about this too is that it always has your amount here. So you're not like, oh man, I got to go back. What was that amount? So it's 14,303.15. Yes. And I'm just going to edit. I just had to fix it so that it like coincides. It's all good. So that's it. And you know what? I'm going to say, and you know what? I know that I deposited it. I just took it to my bank today. Not on the 16th where all the sales were from, but I did it today.
So technically, when you're actually looking at your verification, here's how the dates work. You book it, meaning it happens, you know about it, and the verify date is when the bank says, hey, I acknowledge that, and I acknowledge those funds.
Sorry, I know he's probably calling me to eat. Nope, not yet. Just the husband. So now if I go home, and if I go to my assets, the money coming in, I go to my deposit homepage, now I'll see. I actually have some stuff going on here.
So you were under my name.
Mm-hmm.
So
So
you
I
did
have the
deposit number
one.
one.
Somebody did one here. Danny, see the unhappy face? When you go into edit, it's because there's nothing in the deposit.
No line items.
So if you went into your payments, you want to put your invoices in there. You want to put whatever sales you're trying to deposit in there. Then you can say, hey, you know what? I'm going to do my two. I deposited those 2 cash. I'm going to add it to my deposit. And now my math is off, right? Because I had 100. So let me go back to my main screen because it was actually $731.19 for whatever. And I know for a fact that I took it to the bank today.
And you can print the deposit slip from there.
No, not necessarily the deposit slip. Basically, what they want to see is
Okay.
what's your total amount type thing.
So yours is all happy now.
What you're doing is you're virtually scooping up some stuff. So we were doing sales and sales and sales and sales and sales, which is great. And say it's just that counter person who's just doing sale after sale after sale. Well, eventually there's a ton of money. Say it's sitting right here where Shannon's at, okay? So this person, he doesn't even care about this. The person who ends up doing the deposit, it's either this person or a manager. They're like, oh, sweet, look at all this money. I'm going to scoop it up, and I'm going to deposit it. Well, what ends up happening is because we knew that it came from invoice payments, we're virtually tying backwards. Like this person doesn't even know what's happening, but we tie backwards to those actual physical invoices, and all of a sudden it's like, hey, cool. Like if I went to any of these invoices, I literally could get in there and say, where was I deposited? It even would say, hey, I'm an invoice, I was created here, but I was eventually deposited here. It's life cycle again. We're tracking that life cycle of what's going on.
So do you guys want to do a deposit? I'm trying to delete some of these lines, and you can actually go in and create one and attach your invoices and just make one. Even if it's for 2 invoices, you guys can go in and create
We didn't
one.
deposit yet.
You can. Taking some of this stuff
She's up
out.
here cleaning up some stuff so that you guys can play. She wanted to give you some more information to play with.
So once
Yeah.
you put those deposits in, and then you go to your deposit homepage or whatever, so how do you verify that?
The deposit?
Yeah.
When I clicked that verify button, that said that I saw it in the bank.
Can I show you how I do it?
Wait, I don't remember.
I didn't know if we should go that far.
Okay, okay, no problem.
Okay, so say I go to my deposit homepage.
Okay.
And I know, okay, well, I know my salesperson, they sold all that stuff those days and they made the deposit at the end of the day when they closed the drawer. Whoever does that, they get
Is
it.
one transaction for 4,000 or is this multiple transactions?
This is one deposit for 4,000 for multiple sales.
For multiple sales.
So if I-
multiple deposits technically in one.
No, the bank
No.
will only see one number. 14 grand will be on the bank statement. But what we did is we actually were like, oh my goodness, I had 20 some sales that equated to that 14,000. They don't care that you had 20 some sales. They want to know the physical number,
My
14,000.
question is this, so if you go and you want to just do checks, let's say deposits, and I never deposited anything because I thought if you just invoiced it, it was the same thing. So I just did what you were saying to do like a bulk deposit. So now it's saying for, cash or whatever, the bank, this is how much it is, and then for checks. But it's not verified. How do you verify that entire thing?
That's what he's wanting to show you. How do you bulk verify, which I could show you.
I'm ready.
Okay, so let's go back. Do you guys want to do a deposit though real fast just to do one or not?
She
Because I took some of the line items out so there'd be invoices if all of you want to create one. Or whoever wants to.
we've been playing for a couple days, so there's actually a bunch of invoice payments in there. And ideally, you would, we could just practice making a deposit, but ideally it would be realistic. So you're like, hey, this was on this date, my credit cards, my Visa, MasterCard are together, my Amex is all by itself, and my Discover might be all by itself, okay? Because that's how that actually hits your bank. And then your checks and your cash may be together, depending on how you're doing it. You might actually have, say you ran your business all day and you had all of those different payments, Visa, MasterCard, American. You might end up having 4 different deposits that end up hitting, okay? And sometimes your deposit, especially on credit card stuff, it might be a day or two later before you even know what actually cleared on that batch. Okay, so it does get a little bit confusing that way, but basically it'll stay in that little holding tank until you're like, okay, come on up, I'm looking for you.
Okay, so did you want to create a deposit just so you could do it yourself, or do you want me to just move on to answer her question about verifying?
Can't you just create a deposit from what you were doing?
Yeah, do you want me to do it, or do you want to try one yourself?
She said that we want.
Do you want to try a deposit to create one yourself?
Well, when we all tried that, I could tell we
we
were gonna
Yeah,
take,
We're
take deposits from
Yeah.
each other.
yeah, we have
Well,
a lot of cooks in the kitchen right here, okay? But there's technically a bunch from today, yesterday, and the next day. If we wanted to, we could say, Dan,
Yeah.
why don't you do credit cards for the 17th? Why don't you do everything
Right.
from the 18th, et
You
cetera,
can,
et cetera.
you can all do your own stuff. I mean, I see invoices in here from Brandon, Danny, Joe, Shannon, Debbie, Turner, Russell. There's deposits from everyone. So if I say, okay, build a deposit, Joe, for your deposits under
Okay.
your name. Build a deposit,
Keep it
Danny,
in our
under your
little-
name. Yeah. Just to, I mean, because I have to do it and everything. I can't just see. I got to hear it, do it, write
Sure,
it.
sure.
I'm
So,
just like that.
basically, imagine what's happening. We've been working for a couple days as a training site. We have sold tons of stuff virtually, okay, for training. So what happens is all that money has never actually been deposited, even though it physically may have been taken to the actual bank. We never told the system that it was, and so the system has no clue that it actually advanced to the next stage. It's like, imagine at some point they'll deposit this, but we haven't told it yet. So this is virtually what we're doing. We're creating a deposit saying, I'm going to take this money to the bank, and this is where it came
So
from.
if you bulk deposit, like let's say all the credit cards and all the cash that you have, even though you're bulk depositing it, it's still going to be like.
Okay, so inside of Adilas, it breaks it all down. You have the main, which it says deposit number 10, but it might have 15 line items.
Right.
I'm paying for this invoice, or I'm getting money from this here. That's no problem at all, okay? So basically, when you finally do your thing inside of, you go to the bank, you kind of say, okay, what's my total cash? Okay, I have $350 cash, and then I had 4 checks. This one, this one, this one, this one. So you said that's all that they care about. They just want to see what your deposit was. They don't care where that 350 cash came from, but it's important to you to kind of satisfy those other pieces, okay? So your records, the total record that the bank will end up, like, that shows up on the statement is the sum of all of those pieces, however many you have. So when we finally get done with that particular day, say it was for $800, say it was still 15 invoices. Well, when the bank sees it, all they will show you is $800 cleared. And for you, you basically just stuck in a whole bunch of details. let me show you how I got to $800. That's how that works.
So if you're going back and trying to fix because you haven't deposited, do you have a bank account that has statements that have actual copies of checks and things like that? Does it break it down for you, or can you access it online and say, okay, that deposit, what was it? They'll say $350 cash, like they'll
I use a
show.
credit card for everything, so.
Okay. Okay. So you'll be able to go back and you'll just have to figure which exact invoices were pertaining to the deposit and build them.
It's not a big deal. And if there's like tons of water under the bridge and you needed to do an admin cleanup, we could show you. There's a simple little button. If you have the admin permission under deposits, you're like, oh my goodness,
You want to do it?
I want to. You guys go away. Like we could show you how we can flush some of that stuff out with them. It kind of depends on the need of the person and where they're trying to get to.
So after you create a deposit, we'll show you your question, how to bulk verify. It's already,
I just figured it out.
you figured it out? Well, but there's to bulk verify? Okay. Because that's quicker than going to every single deposit and
Well,
verifying.
that was my question about deposit. I'm like, why do you have to create an invoice and then create a deposit? Should we, once you get the money and you like record it, shouldn't that just be the same thing? But with this, it's a lot easier than going.
Okay, so logistically, what happens is, let's go through a scenario. You create an invoice, okay? Now you either get paid or you don't get paid, okay? So automatically, the system has to say, if I didn't get paid, I'm going to send over in receivables, okay? If I did get paid, I now have money that eventually probably needs to be advanced, meaning deposited, okay? The bank knows nothing about that. You've got the invoice, you've got the payment. That invoice is happy as a lark. It's like, sweet, good, I'm good to go, okay? But there's money sitting in your drawer, or in your vault, or whatever you do to kind of do your stuff, okay? As soon as I gather up this money and I take it physically to the bank, well, we need to record that. That's where we say create the deposit. What it does is it gathers up all these other little pieces and we take it physically to the bank. So that's why you need that next little piece. And then the bank may or may not say you dropped it in the night depository box. Well, they won't see it till the next day. But what if it's a weekend? They might not see it till, maybe it's a Monday holiday. They might not see it until Tuesday, even though you deposited it on Saturday night or Friday night or something. So sometimes there's a lag. That's the book date versus what we call the verify date, which is when the bank physically acknowledges, yes, I see that $800. Okay? If it's time that kind of lapses, we try to help you account for that time.